Just yesterday, we used to know them as good friends who trusted each other to the point of leaving each other with drinks when one goes to the toilet. These used to be good colleagues that have turned their relationship to the brotherhood relationship. Today, they have chosen to become good enemies. Guys, what is going on between Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema? Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema, who's lying and who's telling the truth? We are going to find all that in this video. But before that, I want you to pay attention to this video I'm about to play. In his interview on the SBC, Floyd Shivambu have made serious revelation concerning what has been going on in the EFF. Let us watch.
The ANC is dissipating, and it's not because of any of the existing political parties. It's dying a natural death. Now, the issue which actually a lot of the traditional leadership inputs that we got, and even from the religious institutions, was the question of whether the two other existing black political formations are correct instrument to could replace the ANC, which is going to naturally die because it has lost its relevance, it has fulfilled its historical mission. And a correct response, which I can corroborate with practical knowledge of and intimate knowledge of what happens in both of the two other black organizations, they are not the alternatives. The EFF is not an alternative to the crisis of South Africa. If anything, it will deepen the crisis of South Africa.
Why?
Because it's directionless, one, but two, it has adopted habits and mannerisms of the African National Congress. I think we've made this observation publicly that if you check the conduct of its deployees in government, it's not dissimilar from what the ANC deployees do. And I know this because when I was in the EFF, I was responsible for government or governance. So a lot of complaints would be brought about the conduct of those that are deployed in government. And whenever we'll intervene, there will be an organizational resolution to protect wrongdoing. So that is part of the reasons why we have to disassociate from such a movement that develops and adapts mannerisms of an organization.
Let us pause there for a second. Guys, when you pay attention to what Floyd Shivambu just said about what has been going on in the EFF, the first things Floyd Shivambu, he had to acknowledge that is the one who was in charge of deployment of this all MCC of the EFF, isn't it? But I want you now to pay attention to the question which they had to ask him that no, besides you deploying all these people, you were the command in charge in the EFF.
But you held the second most powerful position in that party.
So this is what happens.
Are you therefore saying that you were powerless to correct the wrongs that you are observing?
So this is what happens with my organizational character. Everyone else that we have led with before is that I will never impose my individual views and perspectives on the collective. In many instances, even when you know that this is not consistent with your personal beliefs and values, I've always subjected and I will always subject myself to the collective view. And I always teach about and preach democratic centralism because I believe it holds organizations together.
So,
but let me
ask this. Let me ask this before you conclude.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, sure.
How soon into the existence of the said party did you notice that behavior?
So the participation in government, and I purposefully pushed that the party should participate in government because I wanted to check the conduct of some of the individuals. And you must remember that the participation in government happened, I think, from the last 3 years. Before that, it was just an opposition party. But direct participation in the government happened in the participation in the city of Johannesburg after the reconstituting of the municipality and Ekurhuleni, Nelson Mandela Bay,
city of Tshwane,
and Tshwane and all of those other areas. And some of the conducts and habits of some people, it's what they were accused of when they were very young elsewhere, in terms of how they related with government, their mannerisms, the directives that they would give to those that are deployed in government. And ourselves, as a far much more organized formation and guidance to those who are deployed in government, would have weekly meetings to Sakina and say, how many jobs have we created this week? What programs are you going to do to impact on the people this week? And then get account on that. But that got to be abolished, and a different mandate of self-enrichment was imposed on those that are deployed in government. That is when some of us began to pull back and say that this is not what we founded. This is what we could never associate with such a type of politics in terms of what got to happen. That is why...
Imagine Floyd Shivambu saying all these things about the EFF. Imagine Floyd Shivambu coming up with this kind of allegations against the EFF, which I believe the EFF will have to come in and responding back. And don't be surprised if these matters end up inside the court, because it might be asked for him to come forward and give the evidence of whatsoever he have just raised against the EFF. Because remember, guys, this is not the first time Floyd Shivambu have to come up with this kind of accusation against a political party. Even in the MK party, after he left, you all saw how he had to come and accuse some people who were busy consuming drugs in the MK party.
There's an imbecile, a fool called Nhlamulo Ndlela, one of the foolish leaders of Umkhonto weSizwe, who unfortunately represents the people there. He's always on drugs and always high on alcohol in terms of how he deals with issues. That is what we're dealing with every day.
Later on, we saw how they had to take him to the court, and the next things he had to come and apologize. So is that going to be the same case with the EFF? Well, we shall wait and see. But you was also ask a simple question about all this. Like, okay, you are saying all these things about the EFF. You were there. You kept quiet. You don't do anything. Now that you decided or you choose to leave the EFF and go to the MK party, but these are the same allegations which was raised against you. These are the same accusations which the MK party, they have raised against you, that you were stealing in the MK party.
You go from that.
That is why.
Then you move from that to a party of a man that you are on record as having accused of corruption, even grand corruption in this country, and you go and join that party, even though you say you left the previous party because you were opposed.
So I took one of the best decisions politically ever, that you have 2.5 million people who have shown confidence in Umkhonto weSizwe in South Africa, and in their respect. And after having observed that Umkhonto weSizwe, the party, was struggling to find organizational sense and resonance, largely due to inexperience on founding organizations and putting systems in place, I said that we cannot leave a constituency of 2.5 million people not represented in a qualitative and clear way. And that is when I agreed fully to go and contribute.
But where did your sentiment change about the leader of the party and his character?
Look, I think I gave this background before. So before the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe party in October 2023, before the announcement in December 2023, on the 16th of June, about the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe party, we had a very political and ideological discussion with President Zuma to then illustrate what were the weaknesses during his occupation of the presidency positions. And then, of course, we didn't retract the criticism that we gave about his relationship with the Guptas, who said that that was wrong. Even when I was in MK, I'd say that it's an era which must never relive. And that, by the way, was happening against some members of MK saying to President Zuma that he must go and see the Guptas in India.
I did say that this is not some secretive engagement. It's not an underground movement. It's an open engagement of persuasion in terms of how to move forward. And no one must feel guilty to be associated with this process. We will appraise him and will tell him the reasons why we think that the MK in its current configuration can be a trusted weapon in the hands of the people of South Africa. There can be a movement that can fight for true freedom if it's not transparent and accountable. There can be a liberation project that is led by a family. There can be a democratic liberation project that is not a unitary formation with democratic centralism. Never.
But we still stayed firm on the principle that there are certain wrongdoings that were happening. But we thought that because there was beginning to be a movement or beginning to be traction that is being gained by Mkondo Wesizwe, let us consolidate an alternative to the African National Congress because it is dissipating whether we are there or not. So the participation in Mkondo Wesizwe was a very honest and fair attempt to form part of those who should constitute an alternative to the African National Congress because it is going to die a natural death and we need a liberation force that is going to represent majority of the people of South Africa. And we believe that Africa My Way movement is what is going to represent the people of South Africa.
Right.
And that is why we are there.
What?
Again here, what we not, or what we have just listened is that Floyd Shivambu ran away from his responsibility, ran away from him being honest with people of South Africa and tell them what's supposed to be his responsibility and what he failed from all this. But this have raised a couple of questions for many people who have listened to what Floyd Shivambu had said in this interview. Some they had to ask a question like, what did he do after realizing that all this is these things that have been taking place in the EFF, it is a crime? Did he report to the police? Did he try to resign from his post of deputy president of the EFF? What did Floyd Shivambu did in order for him to not be guilty? Well, some even went far by saying that no, the man is guilty because he's one of the people who had participated in this so-called crime that the EFF they've been committing in the local government. Guys, it is one thing to be in power and see a crime being committed and not doing something about it. And it is another thing, you seeing a crime which is being committed when you are powerless. Floyd Shivambu is denying or trying to defend himself that he had not enough power in order for him to stop whatsoever has been going on in the EFF, and he leave all this responsibility to the leadership of the EFF, which is Julius Malema. Okay, fine. But this is not the first time that Floyd Shivambu get to attack the leader of the EFF. We all know that he's been calling him names and saying that he's a cult and whatsoever. But what have Julius Malema have said about all this concerning all the kind of names which Floyd Shivambu has been calling him? Julius Malema, in his recent interview, have said this.
How do you invest as much as you've invested in politics as you have done previously after going through such heartbreak?
You must invest, but never invest emotions.
Okay.
So you must develop people, you must encourage people to do the right thing, work on them, give them the necessary support where it is needed. But it must not go too hard.
Yeah.
To a point where when they disappoint you, you feel like you are disappointed by your blood brother. We make a mistake because we seem to think our colleagues are our friends. And we become so comfortable with each other.
I mean, speaking on Floyd, with his Maibuya consultative process, did you expect that coming out of him, number one? And then publicly, he's made so many public pronouncements, negative public pronouncement about your relationship with him, about operations going on here at EFF. Did you expect that? And just what do you make of it?
I don't know how Floyd could have gone to Zuma and MK. I don't know how he could not have known Zuma would do that to him in a few months, because Zuma does that to everyone.
Well, we take our own decision. We write our own history as individuals. And when that history is written, it will tell the true story. We're sitting here, we still don't know what was there. revolutionary about taking that decision of going to MK. But people take individual decisions, and we ought to respect those decisions as the people. And we wish them well. If they are genuinely going to help our people, we can do with so many hands in helping our people. And we shouldn't be hard on them and say all manner of things. Yes, we get disappointed as people because we are people. But you must let go. It's interesting that he's calling us all manner of names, cult and all of that. But most decisions here were taken by him, were influenced by him. He says, I'm a cult. In the same sentence, he says, yeah, he wanted to make someone else Secretary General when he came from a caucus. And I suggested Marshal Dlamini, and Marshal Dlamini became Secretary General. If I was a cult, why would I agree to something like that? I was not from a caucus. I was sitting with him, we were talking, I said, Shadrach Tlaule can be the Secretary General. And he said, no, Marshal Dlamini. And I said, I don't know why I didn't think about that name. And I immediately agreed. There was no quarrel about it. But he is a man who was doing everything because I'm a cult. But whatever suggestions that came forward, we are individuals. We make individual proposals. And most of the ideas he expressed in the EFF were accepted, were never met with resistance. So I don't know what got into their head. Maybe it's again, fostering that idea of fragmenting a black vote, make sure EFF gets as little votes as possible and so many political parties, then the DA grows with the Freedom Front Plus and the IFP, and then they take over South Africa. But it is our duty as leaders to accept that from time to time people are going to insult you, especially the people you worked with, the people you are close with. People are destroyed by people who are close to them, not people from far. So you ought to accept that, but do not degenerate to their level. Just leave them to say whatever they say. People will see them for who they are.
Now, tell me, who's telling the truth and who's lying after listening to both men? Guys, one of the sadness part from all this, according to me, is that seeing two black South Africans who supposed to be fighting for one common mission, they're now fighting for their different opinions. That it is the sadness part, which can be also a very big danger to the true liberation of South Africans. Why? Because you're never gonna win whenever you are being divided. Only unity can make you achieve what has been made hard for you to achieve. So these brothers, they're supposed to be united instead of them fighting. But what did we notice from one side of Floyd Shivambu? Floyd Shivambu is someone who's very clever in one way or other, like him or not. The man is using the same strategy which these other politicians have used in order for them to establish a political party. I'm talking about Julius Malema himself, the way he came up with the EFF things. He had to use the name of the ANC and saying that no, the ANC blah 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 blah, so that people who are tired of the ANC can believe in him. And he succeeded to do so, even though it's the same man who had promised us, telling us that I'm the ANC and I'll die in the ANC. I'll never gonna leave the ANC.
My blood is black, green, and gold. I will never form a political party. Neither would I take a posture that seeks to oppose the African National Congress. I will never do that. I will die ANC. I don't need a card to be ANC. I'm born African National Congress. I will die African National Congress.
Those are his words and not mine. Today, Floyd Shivambu is using the same strategy. Floyd Shivambu is not only stopped on the EFF side, no. He even combined them together with Jacob Zuma. He took the same strategy which Jacob Zuma had applied before he gets to leave the ANC. Jacob Zuma, who declared himself as the ANC member, yet he goes behind the ANC and come up with his own political party, which he believed that it is the only one that will liberate black people. So Floyd Shivambu have understood that in order for you to establish a political party, in order for you to have more voters, you just have to go against these political parties which are well established in South Africa and try to dish up from all these people. I'll tell you why. Because this is how it works. In South Africa, voters are the same since 1994 up to date. There are some few people who came up and started voting, but most of people who never voted before, they are still very hard to be convinced in order for them to vote. I'm gonna give you a very simple mathematics so that you can get to agree with me. Let us take the first elections which bring the ANC to power. The ANC won this election in large number of black people. Do you know why? Because there were not much of black South African political parties as we are seeing them today. They are coming out like a mushroom all over. Today, in the IC, whatever they call it, they are now standing at 600 and something political parties in South Africa, and majority of them, they are from black people. So you could tell that back then, black South Africans, they were more united. And then that elections end up becoming in the favor of the ANC. As time goes, when the COP, or should I say the EFF came out, you see that the ANC keep on reducing. As more political parties are coming up, the ANC keep on reducing the numbers of their voters. Where are these other voters going to? They are going to vote for these other new political parties. And Floyd Shivambu have understood that the voters, they are within these political parties, which has been there for years. And you just have to go and fetch these voters. He could not have enough time for him to go and find new voters. That is the mathematics that Floyd Shivambu have done so far. And that's the reason why it's coming very hard on the EFF and the MK party, because he knows very well that he needs the voters of these people. But by what cost? What measurement or strategy is he applying in order for him to have all these voters? Of course, it's by going against them and saying whatever he have to say, so that at the end of the day, he will come out as a winner who will have more people who will vote for him. But again, that is politics for you. We don't want to say much for now. I can see some people, they say that no, Floyd Shivambu, we need to give him a chance because this man was just a second in command, but now it's being given a chance for him to lead up a movement. We shall see what will happen. Well, but at the same time, I can bet on this. I don't see anything good coming out of it, because you know, when you are building your foundation on lies, when you are building your foundation on manipulation, when you are coming forward after committing or being part of certain crime which was being committed, and then you're coming out and try to clean yourself like you are a saint and accusing other people, that is something I believe many South Africans are observing. And also, what will be his big challenge is for the fact that he is not consistent when it comes to what he said as a politician. He will come today, he will tell you this, tomorrow he's going to come back and deny everything, and that's not good for Floyd Shivambu. So guys, we shall wait and see what will happen. I believe that will be all. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. We are looking forward to see you again in our next video. But for now, don't leave this video without you giving us your thumbs up. We will really do appreciate that, so that it can keep also motivating us to keep on doing best for you guys. I believe that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.